What's up, everybody? Welcome to another GSD episode of the Tradesman Experience. What is GSD? It is, of course, get shit done. This one's going to be brief, but to the point. What is your operating capacity? And what is your operating potential? You hear a lot of people online say you got to go 100%. 100% of the time. And they drive this message that if you're not reaching your full potential every single day that you're failing. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. But I'm also here to rewrite that for you. That's going to give you a recipe and set you up for better performance and better success. Let's start with potential. You do need to identify what your maximum potential is. If you were to operate at 100% potential, what does that look like? If you have eaten correctly, slept correctly, you didn't have any negativity in your life, it was a perfect drive to work, the significant other, you're firing on all cylinders, the kids are great if you have kids, your clients are amazing if you have them, you have all of these external factors coming into play that are stacking success for you, they're stacking wins, and you show up and you are able to perform at that potential. That's what 100% potential looks like. And it is important to identify what that is, because as you grow, that bar should move. But operating at that potential doesn't take into consideration real life variables. And that's why I want to look at it from a capacity standpoint instead of a potential standpoint. I want you to give 100% of your capacity for that day. At work, at gym, with your kids, with your significant other, with your clients. But if you show up and you only have half a tank, then burn that half a tank. Give yourself 100% capacity of that half a tank. You're still going to give 100% of what you have. It might only be 50%. It might only be half of your full potential. But it's still 100% of what you have that day. That is sustainable. That is realistic. That gives you real life metrics because it's going to be about how you feel, what you're thinking, how clients are reacting, how the market is reacting, what the weather is doing. The weather gets a vote. Operating at full capacity is going to be a much better recipe for momentum and success. But you have to be able to ask yourself hard questions. You have to ask yourself, what is impacting my performance? When you have off days, you need to identify what those players are. Is it the weather? Is it a bad night's sleep? Are you under the weather? Are you feeling sick? Are you extremely fatigued from a couple days before? Are you having a tough time with your significant other? It's really important to identify what's impacting your performance, because once you identify it, you can set it aside, you can solve it, you can kind of classify it or categorize it in your brain, kind of compartmentalize is what people call it. You can compartmentalize those things, or you just accept the fact that you're not 100% of your potential today. And as a high performer, it's really easy to slip into a narrative that tells you that you're failing, that tells you that you're not good enough, that tells you that you need to be doing better, because you expect to work at your 100% potential all the time instead of your 100% capacity all the time. You have to give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to perform at a level of capacity. When you give yourself that permission, it's okay to be kind to yourself. You can be kind to yourself and still be critical and still evaluate what it is that's affecting your performance. another part that comes into play is once you identify it, now you don't have to drag that with you into other things. For example, if you have someone with road rage on your way to work, they cut you off or they impact your behavior in a certain way, and you recognize what that is, you don't have to carry that into the experience that you're creating for the client or your team, because that was a bad moment. It wasn't an entirely bad day. But if it's affecting your performance and it's lowering your capacity, you need to accept that. You need to acknowledge that. You need to come to terms with that. And you need to make sure that your narrative is correct as to why your performance is off. There's no way that I show up every day and perform at 100% of my potential. But I strive to operate at my capacity for that day. And when I recognize that I'm fatigued, or I haven't been eating properly, or I am exhausted, I recognize that and try to set myself up for continued success in the capacity of which I have to offer. So you got to just be honest with yourself, be open with yourself, be kind to yourself, recognize what that narrative is, and understand that you're not going to operate at 100% of your potential 100% of the time. You just have to operate at 100% of your capacity most of the time. You do that, you show up every day, and you empty the tank, regardless of how much is in the tank. That's what's going to set you apart. That's what's going to set you up as a better leader, a better significant other, a better operator, a better technician. Those are the days that you're going to build momentum, and it's going to escalate you when you are operating at 100% potential. So I just want you to be clear as to what it is that you expect from yourself and what it is that you expect from others. Performance capacity, not performance potential. Continue to move the bar of potential, but operate at max capacity. Guys, thanks for spending this time with me. Get out there, empty the tank, and get shit done. I'll see you next time.